What's going on, everyone? Scott here. Welcome back to the channel. So, Michigan State football is 3-0 and heads to Los Angeles to play the USC Trojans on Saturday night at 11 o'clock. Now, coming into this one, both teams are 3-0. Michigan State coming off of a 41-24 win at home against Youngstown State, and USC coming off of a 33-17 road win at Purdue. So, this is going to be an interesting one. Definitely a late one for all of us here in Michigan, near East Lansing, whatever, in the Eastern time zone, should I say, for Michigan State at 11 o'clock. So make sure to get some extra coffee going into this one. But this is where it starts here for Michigan State. You got through the non-conference. You needed to get through 3-0. You did that. Now you're into conference play. You need 3 more to get back to a bowl game over the next 9. So we're going to preview this game. But first, before we do jump in, if you could, just hit that like and subscribe button down there. We'll have more Michigan State football content on the channel, so just make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a video. Now, as we said, USC is 3-0 on the year. They have a 73-13 win against Missouri State, a 59-20 win against Georgia Southern, and a 33-17 win, as we said, against Purdue. Now, looking at their team, Jaden Mayava on the year, 989 yards total on the year, about a 69% completion percentage, 6 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and has only been sacked twice on the year. On the ground, Wayman Jordan, their leading running back with 39 carries for 286 yards, 3 touchdowns on the year. Eli Sanders and King Miller as well, getting a good amount of run, 160 yards, 152 yards respectively, each with 2 touchdowns. And then you look at Jaden Mayava. Hasn't ran it a lot so far in the year, only 11 carries, but he does have 2 touchdowns from that quarterback position out of the backfield. Receiving, though, Makai Lemon leading the team, 16 catches on the year, 311 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jacoby Lane, 239 yards on the year, 173 from their tight end, Lake McCray. Defensively, starts with their linebackers and safeties. Eric Gentry at the linebacker position, 21 total tackles on the year with 3 sacks so far. And then you head to the secondary, the safety position. Bishop Fitzgerald, 15 tackles on the year. Does have a pass deflection and 3 interceptions for 72 yards on the year, as well as a touchdown. And then Christian Pierce as well, 11 total tackles on the year with a sack and a pass deflection as well. But move down the line, as we said, Eric Gentry leads the team with those 3 sacks on the year. They have 14 total, and they do have 6 interceptions. They forced 2 fumbles on the year. They forced 3 fumbles on the year, and they have recovered 1 of them. Now, this is the team, as we said, they do have quite a few interceptions on the year, but against Purdue last Saturday, did allow the Purdue quarterback, Ryan Brown, to throw for 305 yards through the air. But overall, when you look at it, it seems to be solid up the middle in terms of run defense for USC, and that's something that Michigan State struggled a little bit with last week outside of Aiden Childs. So this is a game that I think Michigan State will definitely want to be airing the ball out and trusting Aiden Childs to make the right play, because I think we've seen, this year we've seen enough of Aiden Childs through the first 3 games to trust him. Is he still occasionally going to possibly make a mistake and throw a ball into double coverage? Yes, but I think it's not the same as last year in terms of, I think this year it's trusting the dudes you got out there. You got Nick Marsh, who, in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinion, is a future NFL first-round pick. Omari Kelly is definitely a future NFL player, in my opinion. Jack Velling, an NFL tight end as well. So I think this year it is more of Aiden Childs. If he is making those plays, it's him trusting his receivers as opposed to not seeing something. But we have seen him make the smart play more times than not this year, pretty much all year long. At times, even maybe in the first week, being a little too conservative. But listen, hey, this is a game, if you're Aiden Childs in Michigan State, you're going to have to let it rip against USC on the road in a tough environment, 11 o'clock at night, so it's 8 o'clock there in LA. I think it's going to be a really good environment for Michigan State to play in. Interested to see how they respond. Some more numbers for USC. On third down, they're 15 for 29 on the year, which works out 52%, but they're 4 for 4 on fourth down. So forcing them into long third downs and possible fourth downs, I think, will be key in order to help alleviate some of those numbers from, coming about on Saturday night. They run the ball at 7 yards a carry for 240 yards a game. 12 rushing touchdowns on the year. Michigan State has been stout in run defense. this year. I mean, even dating back to last year, but we talked about it. They've been good in the run game so far this year, needing to get home to the quarterback, though. So that's something to watch out for. But if they can slow down the run, make USC just trying to air the ball out, I think Michigan State can air the ball out too. So if they can do that, you alleviate each other there. And then if Michigan State is able to stop them running the ball and Michigan State is able to get their run game back going, I think that's a good recipe going into this game here for Michigan State. But in terms of what we're looking for Michigan State, as we said, Aiden Childs continuing, look, he's completing 72% of his passes this year. Only has the one interception. Last week, as we said, we talked about it. It was a ball that was tipped at the line and intercepted. Tip your hat to Youngstown. That was a good play interception, but it wasn't one where he was forcing it into trouble and the ball was intercepted. So continued improvement for Aiden Childs. He's been sacked 8 times, though, here on the year. So the pass protection needs to improve. Obviously, some injury notes. We'll just get the injury stuff out of the way right now. Mekhi Frazier, Aiden Childs, both questionable on Saturday. Status to be determined. By the end of the week, both a little banged up, but it seems like Luka Vincic on the offensive line seems like could be done for the season in terms from Jonathan Smith's Monday press conference, as well as Alante Brown could be out an extended period of time, mainly making his name on special teams this year with those 2 big punt returns in the Boston College game. So that's something to look at here, but Michigan State needs to reestablish the run like they did. Really, the first 2 weeks were solid. Mekhi Frazier did struggle a little bit last Saturday, but overall, loved what we've seen so far from Aiden Childs. He's ran it 30 times on the year. Obviously, if Nick Marsh missed a Saturday, that would obviously be a huge blow, but this is why the offseason additions of Omari Kelly, Kershawn McCray, Rodney Bullard were huge, because they're still guys. Omari Kelly would be a wide receiver 1 on quite a few teams in this country, and he's a really, really good wide receiver 2 to Nick Marsh in this offense. I mean, both of them have been incredible this year so far. So if Nick Marsh is out, Omari Kelly is going to be the main focus here. Jack Velling got into a rhythm last week, had 6 catches last week. Like to see that continued improvement. Michael Masunas has been really solid this year as well. Getting the tight ends, especially if USC is able to get to the quarterback, which on the year, as a team, they have 14 sacks on the year. So that's something to watch for Michigan State in this one. But overall, getting the ball to your wide receivers, your playmakers, trusting them to make plays here in a tough environment, that's what is proven. But you're going to have to establish some sort of run game in this one. But then the defense, as we said, if assuming that Nikai Martinez will be out there on Saturday, played last Saturday against Youngstown State. So with him back in the lineup now, as we talked about in the recap, just improving and rounding into form. That secondary, need to see improvements in this one. And then Jordan Hall has been incredible this season. Wayne Matthews has been really good as well. Armanian Smith, who has been filling in for Nikai Martinez a lot of times, but he's been playing really solid on defense as well. Had an interception last game as well. And then kicking, Martin Connington is coming on now. Obviously, had a lot of injury concerns in the kicker room to begin this year, but solid start to his young career. I think kicking definitely is something that could come into effect in this game, and we'll kind of get into it here. As of right now, I'm recording this very early in the week. Obviously, if you've been watching any of the videos, just got married last Saturday, and we're heading on a little trip this week as well. So had to record it early this week to get the preview in, but early in the week, Michigan State right now is 17.5-point underdogs on the road at USC. Now, I do think this is going to be a tough environment, as I said, to play in, but 17.5 seems like a lot, personally. But as we said before the season, you needed to go 3-0 in the non-conference. You did that. Now, I think these 2 games at USC and at Nebraska after the bye week next week, these 2 games I think are what could possibly determine whether you are struggling, scraping to get to 6 wins and, make sure you're bowl eligible, or that you could be, looking at, hey, we're an 8-win football team. That's how, big I think these 2 weeks are. Do I think they need to win both of these next 2 games? No. Obviously, if you did, that would be fantastic. But if you can split USC and Nebraska, that does wonders for this team. Then if you split those next 2, then you're looking at the last 7 games of the year only needing to win 2 games to get back to a bowl game. That would be absolutely huge. So we will close this out with our 5 bets of the weekend. Now, last week, really tough week last week, went 1-4, so we're 7-8 so far on the year. But I'm going to start with our game, as I always do. Taking Michigan State plus 17.5 at USC. As I said, I don't know if this is a game Michigan State wins. I think there's some things they can do in this game, definitely to keep up in this game. But opening at 15.5 on some sports books, up to 17.5 now. I think Michigan State at least keeps it within that. And hey, if they do these right things, get the run game going, get the pass game going, and into a rhythm, not self-inflicted wounds, I definitely think they cover that 17.5. Then next up, I'm taking Utah minus 3.5 versus Texas Tech. Then I'm taking Nebraska plus 1.5 against that school down the road, Michigan. Then I'm taking Auburn plus 6.5 at Oklahoma. And then lastly, Illinois plus 4.5 at Indiana. So we'll see if we get back on track with a better week this week. But anyway, that'll do it for this one. Big game for Michigan State on the road at USC this Saturday. We'll definitely be back to recap it after this one. But that'll do it for this one. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.